Ashunta, welcome to the block. I'm so excited to have you here, everyone. This is Ashunta Sheriff-Kendricks, and this is legendary makeup artist,
Oh,
businesswoman, mother, wife. I mean, you got a lot of titles. So excited to have you here today, and I'm looking forward to the conversation because we know each other, but we don't know each other. So
absolutely.
it'll be good for our fans and you and I to just get more familiar with um, two artists, right?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Anita, thank you for having me.
yes.
This is wonderful to see this elevation, the constant elevation that you're putting forward always,
Oh,
and
thank
showing
you.
artists too by leading that we can be more than just artists. To be an artist is a blessing, right?
Oh,
But it opens up a portal, so to speak, to many worlds. And if you don't really pay attention, you won't know when it's time to move.
and that is so true, right? Because there does come a time, especially as makeup artists, that we do have to make moves, pivot a little, or even transition, just depending on who you are and what you're trying to say to the world, right? Because we come into this world giving, or at least we should, right? Especially as artists. And our world as makeup artists is such a young person's game. So I'm always looking to lead and speak in a manner of don't pigeonhole yourself into being a makeup artist at 80, right? Or
No.
75.
No.
Like that's a great life, right? And if you're lucky like you and I have been in our careers, it's a really great life. I mean, we've managed to buy homes and travel the world and have families and you know, successfully put ourselves in position as makeup artists. Talk to me about your career. I heard of your name way back. I always connected Ashunta to Alicia Keys.
Absolutely.
And so, but I know that there was something before Alicia Keys. So talk to me about your career.
Okay, absolutely. So I kind of um, accidentally fell into the world of makeup. I wasn't the young generation TikToker who know they were wanted to be a makeup artist. I knew I was a creative person. I was a kid who my mom had in every art program, in every dance class. So I
Oh,
was
good.
all through Harlem School of the Arts, all through Boys Harbor, Dance Theater of Harlem, doing acting. I auditioned for performing arts. So it was always creativity driving me. I always thought I would be a dancer because that's what my strength was, and I was excelling at dancing. And as you get older, like when you, even as a dancer, even at 16, 17, if you've been dancing like I was since I was 3, you already feel like you have arthritis. So there was already injuries, that had
Wow.
happened
Yeah.
because I did African dance and I did jazz and modern, and those are very physical forms of dancing. So by the time I got to Howard, I was a dance minor and got into their dance program, and I was an anthropology major. So I wanted to be Catherine Dunham.
Okay.
I wanted to be a cultural
Yes.
anthropologist and study cultures of people, food, their dancing, their music,
Oh,
their
wow.
rituals, their customs. That's like my whole background. Those are the things that
Wow.
still move me now.
Mm-hmm.
But through some horrible life incidents, that I experienced that were
Mm-hmm.
actually blessings in
Right.
disguise. They
Yeah.
would redirect me and
Yeah.
reroute me. And you talk about career transition.
Right.
The career that I had planned for myself that I saw just was shattered. And so I came home my junior year from Howard, moved back home to Harlem, and started temping. And then I got a full-time job at a company called Emmy-Company. It was an industrial design firm in Soho. It was on Spring Street, actually, in Lafayette. And they had opened up the second Mac store in New York. It was Christopher Street and then Spring
Yep.
Street.
Yep. I
And
remember
Pro Store
that.
wasn't even open yet.
Yep. I
And
remember that.
so I was constantly, and I tell this story all the time at makeup shows because I want people to understand, like, you can really not be a trained artist who goes to
Oh,
art school,
100%.
right. You just have to
100%.
have creativity and have a steady hand
Yep.
and really be able to have vision and to be able to draw. I think those are like the main things. So,
Right. Can I stop you and take you back to when it all, what you thought you were going to do, got devastated? How did you manage that emotion? Like, how did you, because I find that so many people set out thinking one way and then life sends them a new direction. But how do you manage that? Because everybody doesn't manage that well.
it was what I went through was really devastating,
Yeah.
and it was very public. It was in our school newspaper, and
Mm-hmm.
So it's not everyone knows. My first boyfriend raped two women. He was a college student himself, and they arrested him. But of course, I was with him for 2 years, and he
Right.
was like my first real love. So
Right.
I believed that he was innocent. He was a college graduate. It didn't
Right.
make sense, the
Yeah.
quote unquote rapist. That doesn't that's not what they look like. And he pleaded and begged, I'm innocent, and I would be skipping classes to go visit him at the DC jail. Like,
Wow.
so my mom here, my mom and my stepdad think I'm in school, but I'm in
Right.
Southeast DC in the jails. Every Tuesday and Wednesday online, taking off earring shoes, going through an alarm system
Wow.
to see
Wow.
my then boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I believed everything he said. And it wasn't until he was convicted where I had to go through the trial where I saw evidence, and it was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
And that was devastating because up until then I really believed with all my heart. I'm kind of gullible too.
Right.
And innocent.
I think artists,
Yeah, sensitive, empathic.
Right. We tend to be gullible because it's the nature of
Right.
our.
So talk about shattering, earth
Yeah.
shattering.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so to hurt in double ways. A person you care about is being taken away from you into the system,
Right.
but by their own doing. And then you violated a woman, and then it made me look at myself like in all
Right.
kind of ways. So my rebirth from that, or transition from that, was I did a lot of healing
Yeah.
work on myself. So for me at that time, what healing looked like for me was going to church, listening to gospel music, because I was born and raised Baptist. So that was like kind of where I poured myself back
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
And then I started really discovering around 1920 like other things like meditation. Really started to understand like about manifestation around that time. And so when I saw the Mac store open, honestly, the colors of Mac drew me in, and I came into the store, and it was my therapy. And every day I would go for lunch, and I had an hour lunch, but I'd be in the store 2 hours, and I didn't care if I was late for lunch,
Right.
like, because I'm in the store.
Right. Right.
And so that was part of the therapy, playing with product, playing with makeup, helping customers in there, and I didn't have a job there.
Right. Right. Wow.
So the manager
it.
came to me
Yeah.
and she said, what is your name? Do you work at Christopher Street? And I said, no. She said, you don't work at Mac? You're like helping all these customers.
Right.
You should apply
Thank
for a
you.
job here.
Right.
And that's kind of how it was born.
Yeah.
That's
So,
how makeup
right.
became like a thing. Like, I can apply for a job here.
Right.
So I did.
And it became a thing.
And it became a thing.
Yeah.
I went and did the test, passed.
Right.
Took my best friend as a model. I was like, she's Italian, she's white. If
I'm gonna
I'm
swing
gonna-
that.
I'm like, if I can do her,
That's
I can
gonna
do
go.
anybody.
Exactly.
And it was all my training in dancing.
Yeah.
Because you have to put your face on. And so from 12 years old, I was beating my own face, and then I was doing musicals and plays,
Right.
doing other people's makeup. So I was
Yeah.
already seasoned doing other people's makeup.
It's so funny how that is, right? Because I'm from Ohio, so there wasn't much of what you had to grow up with happening in Ohio. But my sister used to go out, and she always had all the makeup. And she would leave because she would get mad at me if I played in her makeup. So when she would leave, I would do a full beat on myself, full beat, and just stare at myself like, oh my God, like I totally changed how I looked. Like it was amazing to me what makeup did to my face.
Yeah, it's
And I still
transformational.
saw myself, but it was like this whole enhanced version of myself. So, and I didn't, like yourself, didn't seek makeup out as a career, it just was already naturally happening from a young girl. So it's nice to hear that story because you were already doing it,
Yeah,
right? It
yeah.
was already gonna be part of your journey.
Right. It was
Yeah.
already being put into
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
And after I got the job at Mac, and I started working at Spring Street, and basically got immediately put onto the team to open up Herald Square.
Oh wow.
And so once I got on that team, that was in '99. I opened up Macy's Herald Square Mac counter, the one counter. Now I think they have like 6 in Herald Square. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And so from that, that's where everything else began to like
Yeah.
find its way to me.
So I was Lauryn Hill's makeup artist for a long time, and that she kind of by chance that happened. Somebody was supposed to do her for the Nas video, "If I Rule the World," and whatever happened, I got the call to come in, and she and I like clicked immediately. But it was like a by chance, which was, I had already started my career in film and television early, was early. But, then all of a sudden you're with Lauryn Hill. And the Fugees were like on top of the world. So she's like, I went to Europe and finished the whole Fugees tour with her. And then we started Miseducation, but that was by chance. How did you come into the celebrity dynamic of makeup and being an artist for?
So that happened kind of like you. It's really
Yeah.
similar. It's funny.
Yeah.
Working at Mac then led me to getting fired at Mac. I got fired because I was a new mom, and I was in, really terrible abusive relationship. And so he was watching Nami all the time, and it was constant threats, and it was like I got fired because I was always late because I had to leave, or I'd have to, it was always some problem. And so, I remember Demetrius came to me, my manager, and he said, "Ashunta, I love you. You're an amazing artist. If it was up to me, and if this was Mac, we would never let you go," because they knew what I was dealing with.
Sure.
And he was like, "But we're in Federated, we're in a department store, and so we can't have that." I left that day, ran into a man named Wilbur Ramus, who actually is one of the top, makeup artists at NBC. You know who Wilbur is. And he walked me right, because he had left and went to Laura Mercier. And he was like, "Ashunta, no, come with me to Laura Mercier." And he got me a job there. And that was honestly what started the next section of my elevation. I started meeting more higher profile people, record executives. The Sony was right around the corner. I started getting pulled into Fashion Week fashion shows. And then what would happen is I met a woman named Stacey Gray. And Stacey Gray was, a lot of videos when they were happening in New York, they would hire her, and she would kind of manpower the hair and makeup department. And she was like, "I like how fast you were."
Right.
And so she brought me in by a fluke. She called me at 5 a.m. And said, "Ashunta, I got a music video. Can you come?" Got there at 5 a.m., get in the van. I'm actually in the van with Marielle Hain, who's now a huge stylist, in the industry. Groovy Lou was in that van.
Oh, wow.
She was actually assisting with him. Rachel Johnson. We all were converging onto this video site to work on not Peaches and Cream, Dance With Me for 112.
Yeah, 112.
So crazy enough, the groomer from that worked with 112, he ended up having like a car accident, like a little minor fender bender, but it made him late. So I ended up having to do Beanie Siegel, and like aside from that, the video vixens, and just one thing led to another.
Right.
And then I got a call like a week later from Puff's assistant Mar at the time, and she was like, "Puff really likes how you made the guys look," because I had to like kind of help out because Barry wasn't there yet.
Right.
And I ended up with Puff, and that was in 2001. So that's really what got me into the industry. I was a male groomer. So I started with Puff, and then same thing, travel with Puff, award shows, red carpets, Met Gala, Vogue covers. I was doing that all with him.
It's a busy life, honey.
Yeah, because he was huge.
Yeah, he was huge.
And that led me to working with Usher. And so I was with those guys, and then I was like, I want to be a makeup artist. Why am I with all these dudes?
Right.
And
I didn't even know all of that. So I love these
stories. So that's
stories.
2001. And I also did a lot of the women they dated, and some of those women are really famous. And so those little snippets, the video vixens, all just started putting my name in circulation.
Yeah.
And I got a call to do Vote or Die commercial. Lee Daniels was directing it. And they said it's going to be for free because it's about voting, you know, but it's starring Alicia Keys. And she had just dropped Songs in A minor.
Yeah.
And she was also, you know, just coming off of a first wave of touring. And she was looking for a makeup artist to go on the road with her because Ayako, you know, very famous makeup artist, who was her makeup artist who kind of created her look. She was not able to tour because she also worked with so many high profile people. So I ended up doing that commercial and never did Alicia before, you know, and just so happened, you know, I did her face and I was like nervous. She was in the bathroom for like 10 minutes after I finished. And I'm like, oh my God,
did she like it?
Yeah.
Oh, like and that's the constant.
Right.
Oh,
and
God.
she came out and she, you know, I'm packing up my stuff and she's looking at me in the mirror and she's like, I really like it.
Oh,
I really like it. And the rest is history. 12 years with
I
her.
mean, a long time.
A long time.
I
world tours.
totally connected your name to Alicia Keys. Like, I had no idea about Puffy and Usher. Like, I legit.
Jay-Z, all of them.
Like, no idea about them because you were so connected to Alicia.
The beginnings of my career started with men. You know, Nike campaigns, Jordan campaigns. So by the time I got to 04 with Alicia, I had a body of male grooming work.
Right.
You know, that was really
which is big.
Yeah.
You
it's
know,
it's a very well paying.
It is.
It's very well paying and it's a lot less stress too as an artist. I won't even lie to you, you know.
So much easier.
So much easier. You know, because the guys don't want a lot of makeup anyway.
They don't. And they don't
just
get
want good
caught
energy.
up. They don't get caught up.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you know, it's light, you know, unless some crazy stuff happens, but they're pretty easy. You know, I love the guys.
Yeah.
I love the women too, trust, but the guys like are a lot of fun and easy breezy.
Yes, yes.
So we met at the press junket for Power. That's season 1 of Power. And I remember you saying you were getting ready to head to Chicago to start working on Empire.
Yeah.
And that was like and I was so excited for you. And I was, you know, you were like, I forget, you asked me a question about department heading or being a personal or something like that. And I was like, be a personal.
That's what you told me. I was like, should I try to be a department head?
Yeah, no, be a personal because you can learn, right? But it's always better to learn, especially because I feel like you were just kind of coming into the world that I'm mostly in film and television. Like, I know you probably had done some stuff, but like on a big show like that,
I wasn't ready.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready. I actually, just ease your way in. Yeah, that was me being very lofty, which is, you know.
not that you couldn't have handled it, but why be under that kind of stress when you're going to be with the star?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to move through it that way.
I would have never made it.
Yeah.
I would have never made it.
Especially in Chicago. But just tell me a little bit about that journey.
That was a journey. So I got in the union through Alicia. She did a movie in 05 called Smoking Aces. It's actually where I met Taraji.
Oh, okay.
And I tell this story all the time because this is Ryan Reynolds' first movie in America. This is Chris Pine's first movie.
Oh, wow.
This was Common's first movie. This was Alicia's first movie.
Oh, a lot of firsts.
Yeah. And so we were all in that first movie together.
Yes.
But you know, I think
story.
it is. And Ray Liotta was the star and Jeremy Pivens. They were the leads.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was amazing being around like two legends and like we're all the newbies there. But like you said, you know, I was a personal, so you know, I was just there to make Alicia look cute, and that was really it.
Yeah.
And then I, you know, was grandfathered into our 798 union. And then Alicia did another movie in 07 called The Nanny Diaries with Scarlett Johansson. So I came in that and got a little bit more experience. I helped out sometimes with the department head.
Yep.
And then in 2012, I started Law and Order.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone called me to come do to be her personal.
Okay.
And I did her when season 12 Law and Order for SVU. And so I got to learn a little bit more. That's where I I met Tisa
Yeah.
Howard and
Yeah.
Brian,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
Brian
Yep.
B.
Yep. Yep.
So, you know, that extended more knowledge. And Belinda, also Belinda
Sure.
Anderson,
Yeah.
we all met there.
Belinda. Yes.
And then, you know, all those years, you know, I always say the universe is always conspiring for your greatest
Yeah.
good, because I met
Right.
Taraji all those years ago,
Yeah.
but we end up being like sisters and friends.
Right.
I wasn't working with her at all.
Yeah.
And then she called me on a fluke because her makeup artist didn't show up or canceled on her, and it was for Black Girls Rock.
Right.
And I was literally hired to do both Tracy and Regina, because they were co-hosting, and they agreed that I could do both of them.
Right.
And so she's like, Ashunta, I need a makeup artist. And I was
Right.
like, I'll stop by and do your makeup, because I couldn't
Right.
think who was going to
Right.
come last minute.
Right.
So I
Right.
did her makeup, and she was like, oh, bitch, I need you. You know? So anyway, that's, you know, I'm putting that out there.
Yeah,
So
sure.
when the world of makeup started transitioning, when the influencers started coming into
Oh
the
my
industry
gosh,
and
yeah.
changing our rates and just the dynamic and how
Yeah.
hiring was happening,
Yeah.
the whole process was like flipped upside down.
Yeah. Social media, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that, but
Yeah.
it flipped it upside down, so rates were changing.
Yeah.
And so I was tired of competing with people that I'm at that point, I'm almost 2 decades in, right?
Right,
So
right.
I'm competing with someone who's been doing makeup on their own face for 6 months and viral on TikTok, and they're going to do it for $75.
Oh, I
know?
know. You want to just grab them
I was
and go,
like,
don't
what?
do it.
Yeah,
Don't do
like,
it like
what are
that.
we doing? So talking to Taraji,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, this industry's changing a lot. And she was like, well, I'm going to be doing this show. Would you be interested? So at first, Lee was like, no. I already have people, and after season 1's great success, he kind of gave her a carte blanche to have what she wanted, and she's like, I want her. But I
Yeah.
had, in the interim, did all the press.
Right.
And I was doing press for other people because I was in New York. But with Empire, I did all of her press, you know,
Yeah.
that I could be on, that I was
Right.
available for.
Yeah.
And Lee was like, bring her.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's how I got the green light. You know, she was like, I want her. He was like, I like it. Let's
Right.
make it happen.
Yeah.
And so I went to Chicago in 2015. I think I
Yeah.
got there like end of June,
Yeah.
and began my journey with Empire season 2.
Yeah. Empire, one of the biggest shows on television.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Both our shows.
100%. Yes, for sure.
All the rivalry was
oh
hilarious.
my gosh. Hilarious. Hilarious.
And I'm a Power fan.
Yeah.
Like, I love Power. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I watch all the Powers. You know, not all of them. I was watching all
Yeah.
of the Powers, but I watch Power Book Series
Yeah.
2.
Well, you're
know.
from New York,
Yeah.
so it
Ghost.
resonates.
Yeah, it resonates. I understand it. I'm
Yes.
like, this is what we grew up with.
Oh,
So-
yeah,
And the
yeah.
acting was phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. The storytelling was great
Yeah.
on Power, no question about it. You know, they definitely, Courtney Kemp challenged the audience. Like, just when you think it's going this way,
Right.
it goes that way. So
Absolutely. I
yeah.
mean, Power and Empire had chokeholds on
Oh, yeah.
television.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
An incredible, iconic moment for Black content
Yeah.
and storytelling.
Yeah,
for
amazing.
sure.
So being an Empire was
Yeah.
a blessing, because, you know, I really learned, this is where being a personal, I stretched myself. I would go to Beverly Joe prior. My department had, do you
Yeah.
need me to help anything?
Right.
A few episodes I was a third key.
Right.
You know, I went
Yeah.
and helped in background, and this is
And
where
that's how you do it.
And this is where I really got in the trenches.
Yep.
Let me come in on days when T's not working.
Yep.
And I would do Soraya some days, or get
That's
to be
right.
on Jussie, or either on, you know, Brashear, or, you know, I never got to be
Yeah.
really on Terrence unless, you know, like something was like an emergency, because
Right.
Beverly really
She
took
had
care of
him,
yeah.
yeah.
But I worked with so many people,
Yeah.
guest stars and stuff,
Oh,
so it
yeah.
really opened me up.
Yeah.
And then I was doing all that back office stuff and helping out here and there.
Yeah.
You know, and then I had
Which
to
is
manage
very
my
important.
own stuff, you
That's
know.
important. I mean, I think a lot of makeup artists don't understand when you set into the role of department head, there's a lot of office work. There's a lot of things that have nothing to do with makeup.
Yeah. It's a
and
business.
that was, yeah, it truly is a
Yeah.
business. It's about management and, you know, management on all levels.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you need to know that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not, and you need to understand the art of storytelling, because I feel like so many artists will come in because they're makeup artists, feel like they got to put makeup on people. And sometimes the story is not that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the makeup is not there.
Sometimes the makeup is secondary to
Or
what the character's
exactly,
actually doing and the story is talking to.
and it becomes a distraction. And so I'm always very mindful when I'm speaking to people who are coming in, former influencers or as an influencer now having the ability to work in our world of union projects, to remind them to understand the character that they're working on and the art of storytelling, because this actor can be giving an amazing performance that doesn't need red lipstick.
Right. We cannot have fuchsia right
Yes.
now, right?
This is not the moment
Yeah.
for fuchsia lip or red lip. This is a moment of bare lip, sometimes even cracked lips,
Yep.
depending on what it's about.
Right.
So I do try to lend a hand that way with some of the new people that get to enter in by being grandfathered in sometimes because they're with an artist, and that's fine. Listen, however you get in, I do believe makeup artist in general, the union is very important, and not important for the actual art, but important for pension and welfare, important for life when you're 70, 80, that there is something there for you put away when you get to that age and you need that money to help yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? Because as artists, we're not the best at that.
No.
Putting
Sometimes
that money
it's check to
aside to go, I need to make sure I got money when I'm 80. Like we don't think like that because we're so free-spirited. That we just like go and, girl, I got extra $10,000. I'm gonna take 2 trips. And
I'm gonna go to dinner every night.
I'm gonna go to dinner. I'm gonna buy that Chanel bag that I've been wanting. Because that's who we are, right? So it's really, I say that to say that I am happy when some of them get to make that transition in, because there is a great protection of being a union member.
Absolutely.
For more reasons than not being abused on set, for the bigger picture of life when, your body can't lift a brush anymore and those things. So anyway, good for us.
Yeah, and I will add to, aside from the protection and the long term, the diversity. The union needs us.
Oh, 100%.
So they need creative, artistic, brown and black people
100%.
to come into this union, because our industry is actually more than ever flooded with brown and black people.
Yes.
And so we should have representation in that way as well.
Amen.
So it's great to have influencers or people who are just artisans come in. They just have to retrain their brain to think
it's just retraining. Exactly. And hopefully they get next to people who don't mind sharing that with them, because you know how our business is. Some people can leave you hanging.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, the elevator shouldn't just go side to side. It has to go down and up.
That's
so it's important. I love mentoring. I told you I love mentoring artists and giving them information, because there's been artists who've given me information. There's been an artist who's just planted a seed into me or just given me a word. And so I try to pay that forward. And I have artists like literally around the world sometimes like, how do I do this? How did you get here? And what I will say to most artists is it didn't happen overnight. Even in hearing this story, this is from, this is a journey from 1996 to now. And that's a long journey. Journey. So, it's a marathon, not a race. Take your time and just, be mindful and open that your time of flowering will come, but don't want the flowers tomorrow, because you just got
and don't worry about them. Don't worry about them.
I never worried about that.
I never did either.
I still don't.
I just move. I still don't. I really do
I just want to be paid well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my flowering.
Yeah.
Pay me well and respect me.
Yeah, respect is a big thing, because I'm one, you don't have to like me, but respect me. Respect what I've done. Respect, my contribution. So talk to me now about Ashunta the businesswoman, because when I also met you, you're like, oh, I have a whole line of makeup. I'm going to send it to you. So tell me about how that happened.
So Another journey. So in 2010, my then agent that I had was like, I think we need to like monetize on all the success you have had with Alicia and Rihanna, because I worked with Rihanna
Yeah.
and Sierra.
Yes. Big names,
Big
honey. Don't
names.
let's like
Yeah.
say that again.
And Jennifer Hudson, we can put Janelle Monáe
Yes.
worked with a lot of people.
I mean,
It's
big.
crazy.
Yes.
And she was like, we need to monetize on this. So we started together kind of brainstorming, and I started drawing
Yeah.
and saying, I love Black Opal's foundation sticks, but I wish it was double-ended.
Right. Well,
So that I could
yeah.
have the two shades that I'm constantly using, to
Ah,
highlight contour or sculpt and,
Right.
create definition, whatever you want to say. So I drew a double-ended foundation stick. And then she actually found a manufacturer of components named Charles Chang, and he basically said, this doesn't exist. About 6-7 months later, he went to, I believe, a Korean trade show where he normally was buying components and bringing them back here. He called and said, Ashunta, we found that piece.
Oh, wow.
There's a company that makes this stick. They're the only ones that make it. And it's, I think we can move forward. So that was the birth of Perfect Blend.
Yeah, right.
By Ashunta Sheriff. It was a dual-ended foundation stick, 6 shades with a dual-ended brush. We put it together, packaging. Went to chemists. I created the formulation with them and how I want it to feel. It was amazing, like down to the fragrance I wanted.
It's
it was a lot of work. I was
Yeah.
at the lab like every other week sometimes, and then when I'd have to travel, I'd have to then come in like monthly. But we finally like got everything finished, and then once my product was finished, my then partner found a vendor representative for QVC.
Awesome.
And so we
That's
came
big.
right. So then we came, presented Perfect Blend by Ashunta Sheriff. She said, I think this is the moment because QVC is trying to open up some diversity.
Yeah.
They at that time had one Black-owned brand that didn't do well, and so I would be the second ever.
Yeah.
I went on June 12th, 2013, and had great success, sold out,
Woo.
amazing.
Yes.
Was getting email to come back, came back, second time out, come off the stage, great success, trademark infringement lawsuit for $1 million.
Why?
Because I had Perfect Blend was trademarked by a makeup artist in Texas who was well known in the bridal business, and she was smart. She knew her business, and I did it.
What? Honey,
And
the
neither did my
lessons
business
we
partner.
learned. The
And neither did my
lessons we
business
learned.
partner.
Wow.
And I want to say this, not to
Yeah.
be funny. Black people will feel like they don't know business. My business partner just was a white man. So it has nothing.
It had nothing to do with
that's
color.
why I want it. It has nothing. So knowing
Yes.
business has nothing to do with color. I want people to
Amen.
understand that.
Yeah.
It's just about knowledge. He did not
Right.
think that I needed to trademark it
Yeah.
because my name was a part of it. However,
Right.
it didn't matter because my
Wow.
name, technically, the way it was formatted was a subheader.
Yep.
And that's how it got caught out there. So $1 million lawsuit,
Wow.
bank chapter 13, all
Oh,
of that,
gosh.
bankruptcy.
Done.
Yeah, done. Yeah, done. And then had to pay her for the amount of pieces I had in inventory. And because it was a component that was custom made, this manufacturer, the one manufacturer, they weren't making it for everybody. So they were making it for me. So I had to have like 30,000 units. So I had 30,000 pieces, in QVC's warehouse.
Wow.
And then of course what I had sold, QVC started me with the small,
Right. Sure. Yeah.
it wasn't like we're taking all 30. We're going
Right.
to sell 500 of each shade,
Yeah.
plus
Yeah.
1,000 brushes. And then we
Right.
sell out of that. We're going to do that the next show.
Right.
But everything else was housed in their website. So,
Yeah.
in their warehouse.
Right.
So, yeah, I got hit with a major learning lesson. And
Wow.
tail between my legs, felt like a failure. I mean,
Oh, I was
literally
gonna
was
say,
on
how did
social, like, I'm on
you-
QVC. And then it's like,
Yeah.
womp, womp.
Wow.
Embarrassing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had some hits. I took some major hits in my career,
Yeah.
financial major hits.
Yeah.
And so I then had to take all that product back. I had all this product in my basement in Harlem.
Yeah.
And that's how, you know, crazy enough, the universe would bring James Vincent to me, and he said, you know, he's like, I want to take you to lunch.
Right.
And, you know, he's like, I saw you in QVC. I love you as an artist. I think you're, you know, iconic makeup artist. Love your work.
Yep.
We want you to be a part of the makeup show. And that was a blessing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the makeup shows that I did, my sticks had an expiration date, I think, of like 5 years because the way they were, the preservatives in them. For 5 years, I sold those sticks.
Wow.
Until I think maybe my husband and I probably have like 20 of them left in our storage.
Well, that's good.
But they're going to be a part of my archive.
I was
going to
say, yeah, you got to keep those.
Yeah, because they're memories.
Yeah.
But, you know, just complete bust. But a bust that turned into a blessing. Because I ended up becoming a part of the makeup show family.
Right.
And aside from doing education, we have my little booth.
Right.
And we kind of built up a little cult following amongst makeup artists and makeup lovers that love this stick.
Yeah.
And so that was my little brand.
So important to artists. Yeah.
So Ashunta, the you know, Sheriff Beauty went through things, and we, you know, really were just functioning, you know, like renegade for a long time.
That's such a great story to tell, because I don't think that many people think about the crossing the T's and dotting the I's of trademarking.
Yeah.
And it is a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. And you know, don't even try to do it yourself. There's you need an attorney, you know, like
spend the money.
Spend the money. And so, you know, I just know that like that kind of knowledge is an investment in yourself.
Right.
And also down to, you know, just people come out with products and you immediately want to be in a certain space like QVC. Also, you know, it's okay to just sell online.
Right.
Until it's busting at the seams.
Yeah.
And then go into retail.
Well, right. That's the benefits of social media today, right? That we didn't, even 10 years ago, you didn't have the access to selling the way you do today. I mean, everything can be sold on Instagram.
Direct.
You don't even need a website.
No, and TikTok.
Yeah.
Through social,
TikTok,
period.
Everything social. I mean, the kids today got it good.
They do.
I mean, they can promote themselves, brand themselves, everything just through social media.
You can wake up, get out your bed, you know, put on a
do
robe
nothing.
And throw a camera
put the light
on
and just go to work
and
have
sell
50,000 likes.
It's crazy, like at your fingertips.
And
so
now you're a brand ambassador. They're sending you money. They're sending you all over the world.
And you're like, I'm in my robe.
Yes, I just did all that, and now I'm going back to bed.
I'm going back to bed.
Hallelujah to the advancement of the ability to cash in. In the art of creativity.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, everything there's monetization in everything through social. Everything. Art, makeup, clothing, everything. So
where it really was at a time, right? People would go, "Oh, you're an artist," or "Oh, you want to be an artist,"
down on us.
or "Oh, you know, oh, you're a makeup artist." I mean, when I was coming in, people like, "Oh, you're going to be a makeup artist?"
I went through that too.
Like when I started at Estee Lauder, there were no makeup artists at the counter. They were like, you know, you were representing Estee Lauder, not as an artist, just, you know, pulling the makeup out and selling it, right?
Yeah. They just had enough training just to be able to sell
tell
products.
You about the product. And so I was using cotton balls and Q-tips, putting makeup on people because there's no brushes. There was none of that. You know, MAC kind of brought that in, where the actual beauty advisors were makeup artists, right? And could actually like do a full MAC really like transitioned
our beauty industry.
The beauty industry.
Absolutely.
No question about it.
It put the artist in the forefront.
Yeah.
And the selling, you know, was kind of secondary.
Yeah.
And it became I always say, you know, they created that brand following, that community of like all of us creatives and brand.
What it meant to be a Bobbi Brown and MAC. Chanel Beauty was Chanel because it was Chanel, right? Estee Lauder, just this long history of beauty, but it was Bobbi Brown and MAC that really did change the game for the artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of a sudden the emergence, right? And then you had the Kevin O'Coins and all of these people that like really, along with the supermodels, like put the makeup artist front and center
Absolutely.
as equally as important to the brand, to the supermodel, to everything. So, I mean, hallelujah for evolution
Right.
in our field of
It's kind of, it gives me
makeup and
goosebumps.
art. And yeah,
It's kind
because
of
I mean, we've
amazing.
watched it and we've been
And we
pioneers in
lived
it.
it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
lived it. Because I worked all those stores. I worked at Bloomie's.
Yeah.
I worked at
Yeah.
Saks. I
Oh,
worked at
yeah. Did our
Macy's.
time, honey.
Yeah, Henry Bendel. I
Yes,
even
on
worked
those
at
marble
Bergdorf. Yeah,
floors,
on those, yeah,
honey.
in heels and
In
all black. Yeah, I
heels.
remember. I remember days I would walk from 110th
Ah.
Street to Henry Bendel's and I'd have on
Yep.
heels.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and it
Like
was just with
nothing.
headphones, in heels
Yep.
walking down Fifth
Uh-huh.
Avenue.
And we were so happy.
Yeah.
Like I was very happy. The money was in, but it was your craft was becoming
Yeah.
incredible because that's where you just put makeup on anybody that says, "Oh, can you do my makeup? Oh, I'm buying this lipstick." And you go, "Oh, let me do a little." And these are just everyday women, and I say to people all the time, when you can make a woman who walked in feeling a certain way walk out in a whole different energy, that's when you really, because I mean, models and actors generally are beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the lady that, doesn't look like any of those kind of people that you like
Yeah, you elevate.
completely
Yeah.
elevate their look. Where they're walking outside ready to go have lunch, meet some friends
They feel
because
good.
they feel so good.
And that's why we do it.
And
That's
why we
do it.
do it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
that
we
feel
do
good
it.
feeling.
Exactly.
I want to even add to that, like even being a brow specialist wasn't a thing.
No, exactly.
It was not a thing. I remember literally a makeup artist at Laura Mercier. She was a phenomenal brow artist, and she got hired by Anastasia, who opened up a little hole in the wall.
I remember that in
It was
Beverly
a hole in
Hills.
the, no, before Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
okay.
She was here
'cause
first.
Oh, okay. I
She
didn't
was
know
in New
that.
York
Yeah,
first.
I didn't know that.
And Damone was in New York first. They both were here.
yeah.
And then,
She went to Beverly Hills. I remember when she first opened in Beverly Hills.
yeah. So, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Her legacy starts from here.
Yeah, that's
and
great
so does
to know.
Damone's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just
Interesting.
really just crazy how being a brow specialist, really got put on the map.
Yeah.
And I even watched just all these other careers within beauty.
Yeah.
The tattooing, the this, the that. We all these octopus legs
Yeah.
that are really stemming from the artistry of makeup.
That's exactly
so
right.
it's really amazing to see
And
all these
again,
careers now.
social media.
Yeah.
Pushing it all
Pushing
out
it
there
forward.
that none of these people would be without that phone and those images on
Yeah.
and so it's fantastic. So now just tell me, because we've gone through you're kind of newly married, right?
I'm newly married. Yeah, I guess you say under 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
We hit our 4-year anniversary this June
Congratulations.
22nd. Mr.
Eh,
Kendricks.
yes. In this world of craziness that we operate in and live our lives and have our careers in, how do you juggle business and mother and wife and, how is that?
Sometimes I drop the ball. I'm
Yeah.
human,
Yeah.
It's, you finish a project sometimes that's really, really rigorous, and you come home and you just want to, close the door for 2 weeks and not
Yeah.
see anybody,
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes my husband's had to come to me and say, you need to come down and see your children. That
Uh-huh.
happens.
Uh-huh.
I have to decompress from
Yeah.
all the energy,
Yeah.
especially department heading.
Yeah.
I realize
Yes.
that's a big energetic shift from being a personal.
Oh, 100%.
For me, because the business aspect and the artistry and the designing and all of that. So,
Yeah.
all of that can weigh on you. So
yeah.
I think I juggle it well.
Uh-huh.
I would say 75% of the time,
Yeah,
but there's that
fair
25% of the time I'm just terrible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but I have an amazing partner, my
Right,
husband,
yeah.
Cordero, and my kids are
Yeah.
old enough now where they
Right.
understand they're not so small, which
Yeah.
is probably why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Because when my children were smaller, that I would have never done that.
Right.
I would give the last breath to make sure that they're
They're taken care
yeah,
of.
I
Yeah.
would. And
Yeah.
so, Nami, who was kind of an only child for 10 years until Jordan came along.
Yeah.
When I came off tour, mommy didn't do nothing. We went, you know what, you getting off school, we're going to Red Lobster.
Yeah.
You getting
Oh,
off
yeah.
school, we're going
You
to
pour
New
right
Rock
into
City.
them. That's
and
right.
we just did so much stuff. Same with,
Yeah.
JoJo.
Yeah.
I was at their events, their dance classes,
Yeah.
their karate,
Yeah.
sessions, whatever
Yeah.
that I could be when I was in town.
Right.
And anyone knows me. Like,
Yeah.
I would try to have gatherings at my house
Right.
just so I didn't have to
leave your kids. Yeah.
Right. So
Same for
everyone,
me.
you know, and I
Yeah.
had a backyard in Harlem at the time.
Yeah.
So in the spring,
Rare.
through the summer, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makeup artists will do.
That's right.
So, you know, a lot of my friends, you know, I would be like, let's get, you know, Friday night, come over, hang out. I'll put my lights out. We'd be in the
Yeah.
backyard. We have
Yeah.
our wine. We
Yeah.
chill. And my
Yeah.
kids could be right there with me. So I kind of set up my life
Yeah.
to make sure I was always present with them.
Yeah.
Now that they're older, there's more, my traveling is not much different. I'm still
Right.
traveling the same, but
Sure.
I'm older, so
Yeah.
I get more tired.
Yeah.
So when I'm like, y'all are teenagers.
Right.
So deuces.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
see y'all on Monday. Like Friday I'm getting in, I'll see y'all Monday. And
Yeah.
they all know. They're like, are you good,
Yeah.
Mom? You know,
Yeah.
so they get it.
Yeah,
but
they learn to manage
balance.
life too. Yeah, exactly.
and kids are more resilient
it's important
than
for
we
them
believe.
to be able to do that.
I had a friend, her name is Trillium, and Trillium Sellers, her dad was a pro golf player. And he played golf 200 days out of the year.
Oh, wow.
Traveled, and her mom was like his manager.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
so can you imagine? Both her
Yeah.
parents, she said both of them were gone sometimes. Sometimes she's with them, sometimes she wasn't.
Yeah.
So there would be days she was a photographer, so I would have Nami with me while we would be doing test shoots. And some days we'd be just talking and I would cry because I wasn't there for this for Nami. I wasn't there for that.
Right.
And she looked at me and she said, Ashunta, she told me exactly what I just told you. She said, kids are more resilient than you think.
Oh, yeah.
She said, as I've grown older, I see the sacrifices that my parents have made to afford me a certain life, and I'm grateful for it. She said, and I love them and I forgive them.
Yeah.
She will forgive. She will give
100%.
over it. And
Yeah.
so that's what I will give
Yeah.
a message to young mothers, fathers,
100%.
parents, period, out here raising kids who are, you know, pushing towards dreams and goals. You know, just as long as you're showing that you're showing up in
Yeah.
your children's
Right.
life, giving them those hugs,
Exactly.
telling them you love them, structuring their
Most
life.
important.
They're going to
Yeah.
forgive you for the time you missed. They really
That's
will.
exactly right. That's exactly right. It is quality, right?
It's quality
It's
over
quality.
quantity.
It really
because I can have a
is.
9-to-5 job every
Yeah.
day and be in their life less.
Yep.
I see it
Exactly.
happen with a
Yeah,
lot of
you
my
see it
friends in
happen.
corporate America.
Yep.
So after that big hiccup with the
Right.
first wave of Ashunta Sheriff Beauty,
Yeah.
that dissolved. And during the pandemic, you know, well, first off, let's start with COVID. So
Yeah.
COVID happened and shook our
COVID
industry.
happened, honey.
COVID
COVID happened.
backslapped us and front slapped us,
Woo!
okay? And on March 13th, I think it was, or either March 20th, I remember it was one of those 2 days, we got an email and it was done. Empire was done. They weren't even going to finish the season out.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
production
gosh.
shut down. They weren't
Wow.
even going to, we're not coming back to it. It's just done. No renewal, done.
Oh.
That's how it ended for us. It was an abrupt ending. Like we're
Wow.
filming that
Ooh.
Friday, and like by the next week we're done, because COVID happened.
Yeah,
And-
COVID happened, but that's
no,
like
it was done. It was abrupt, super abrupt, and I wasn't.
and that becomes your family.
what? So
that's
everyone
a
was
real
traumatized.
disconnect.
Yeah, it was like the socket pulled out.
Yeah.
So when that happened, and you know, my husband was on Snowfall 2 already at that time. His production was still kind of going, so he was working, and I wasn't working, and I was like, you know, waiting for things to move, waiting for this to happen. Our bank didn't stop. Our
Right.
mortgage payments yet.
Oh,
they
no,
were one
they
of
were
the
staring at us.
Yeah, they were one of the last banks to like
Yeah,
hold out, so we still
right.
had bills to pay. So he's holding us
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
And you know, the time is coming, and I'm like, we're in August. What's going to happen? And he was like, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. I said, I think I should start a product line. Like that's such a random thought.
Yeah.
He was
But
like,
good for
well,
you.
yeah, I know. He was like, well, what do you want to do?
Right.
And I said, well, I think I'm going to do something with lashes, because I was getting a lot of Zoom calls on how to put on lashes, because
my
I'm
gosh,
not able
yes.
to come because of COVID.
Right,
You know, I
right.
can't be in the space
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of COVID.
yeah,
I've got to do a morning
Right.
news segment, but you can't be here.
Because Zoom was still with a
Zoom-
camera on you,
yeah.
honey.
So I was training and teaching people how to put lashes on.
Yeah.
That was disastrous, because
Yeah,
some
'cause it's
people just
tricky.
can't. Some people just don't know how to do
I
it.
struggle putting them on myself.
Yeah, it's hard.
do.
and I thought I had a foolproof way of teaching people
Yeah.
with a mirror on the table, because I've taught a lot of people that put the
Sure.
mirror on the table,
Yeah,
look
and
down,
look down.
and I've taught a lot of people, and they were like, not working for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So I came across a pair of magnetic lashes from another brand,
Yeah.
and I was doing, at that time, I was pouring myself into doing makeup tutorials. I would be in our daughter's room. I had a whole vanity set up, and I was and that was therapy for me.
Yeah,
Makeup was
sure.
therapy. So I just go in there. He'd be in his other room making music, making beats, editing videos.
Ooh,
And
the
we
house
just,
was full of
we had
creativity.
I had
I
kids
love it.
in every room doing school. Like, it was crazy because we have
Right.
multiple children.
Yeah,
so we had
yeah.
like kindergarten all the way to high
Yeah.
school
I
doing
love
work.
it.
And you know, making these videos in the room, and I found these magnetic lashes that they
Yeah.
were gifted to me.
Yeah.
And these were the one with the line, and you put it on. So
Yeah.
I put them on in the video, and I was like, I love this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because blue always kind of irritated me.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive, and my eyes
Totally.
are I'm very allergic.
Yeah.
And so, and then I have a lot of mature women who get teary-eyed with glue just from the smell of
Yep,
it and stuff,
yep.
and sensitivity. So this was like non-toxic. It's nothing. The only thing I noticed is they just didn't stay on.
Right.
And I said, what if I could find some that really stay on?
Right.
And
right.
so I started searching and looking at manufacturers and ordering product. And then by December, I had from basically from August to December, I was trying different kinds, and I settled into this one manufacturer because I was like, wow, I can sleep in these the whole weekend.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Well, yeah.
Because I was into lash extensions,
and yes,
but I was
gonna
getting
say,
bald from them because
bald. But they had you waking up looking
what?
fat.
Right. And I'm the kind of person, like, I don't have to wear full face of makeup.
Not at
but give
all.
me some lashes and a brow,
Yes,
and I'm happy as hell. You know, like, I'm
exactly.
so happy.
Yeah.
So, because other than, if I don't have that on, I look like a child. Like, I
Yeah,
still have
yeah,
a young face,
yeah.
even though I'm in my late
God bless
40s.
you. Yes,
Thank God. Yeah,
yes.
you know, so life hasn't worn on me.
Yeah, amen.
Right,
You've been
amen
through
to
it,
that.
so you got a
five
good
in that.
spirit.
Yes,
you got a
thank
good,
you,
that's
God,
soul.
thank you. Good
Yes,
vessel.
amen.
So we settled in to
Yeah.
this one company. They allowed me to custom design, low, you know, minimum quantity, all of
awesome,
that.
awesome.
I came to the hubby. He's the one with the bank account because
Yeah.
he's the only one
I
getting
found
some
what I'm gonna
residuals.
do.
This is what I want to do. He's like, all right, babe.
Love it.
And he funded
that's
my
awesome.
day and night magnetized lashes.
That's awesome.
And the rest is history. Taraji
Yeah,
posted
yeah.
it without telling
Yeah.
me. And
Oh,
I'm walking my
yeah.
dog, and my phone is crashing. And I'm like, what the hell's
Wow.
happening?
Yeah.
I get back to my house. I've got over 38K in orders.
That's awesome.
In an hour.
Oh
and
my
it just kept going. It
gosh,
just
yes.
kept. And I was
God
like,
bless.
what the hell? I didn't
Yeah.
even have enough inventory,
Yeah,
Anita.
and that's the thing, right?
Wasn't
It's
even,
like, oh, I really do appreciate it, but let me,
I had to turn my phone off.
Yeah, let me, because that's the other thing, right? If you don't have enough, it's like, how fast can I get enough?
Right.
Because we've watched brands
Crash.
because they can't get the product back.
Oh, guess
fast
what?
enough.
Guess what? It
Yeah.
was my product launched January 24th, January 28th. She did that video. We've got over 50K in orders in a matter of a day and a half.
Wow.
We've only got probably like a 500 pairs. You know,
Right.
that's nowhere
Yeah.
near.
You're like,
$26
what
is
do we
not
do?
adding up. It's
What
not.
do we do? What do we do?
And then it's the Chinese holiday.
Oh, shoot. So it was done.
I was like, can you please? They
Yeah.
were like, we're on holiday. There's nothing we can
and
do.
they don't budge.
So
on
what I
that.
did was
Yeah.
is I had to do
Did you
What
pre-order?
I had to.
Yeah.
I basically had
Yeah.
a lot of emailing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once I fulfilled that 500,
Yeah.
the Chinese manufacturers were like, we won't be back until February 17th. Then
Right.
we'll begin manufacturing.
Right.
Then
Then
we're going to
it'll-
ship.
Right. And then
March
it's coming
7th.
from China.
So we're talking about people waiting from the 28th, 29th, end of January,
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
heavy orders.
Yeah.
And then they kept coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, holy shit,
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And there were some angry ass people. I'm not
Of
even going to,
course.
people, and I'm going to say people are so mean.
Rude. Yeah.
So mean.
Yeah, yeah.
But out of the thousands of people who ordered, I wrote I literally wrote everyone.
Oh my gosh.
I
God
wrote
bless you.
everyone.
Yeah.
I said it was day and night.
Yeah.
He would be looking at me. I'd be like, I'm
Yeah.
emailing at 3 in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
And I would be apologizing profusely.
Right, yeah.
It got so bad. My daughter said,
No more.
I'm taking it over because I don't have
Yeah.
any emotion. I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah,
She's like that. I
exactly.
raised a good one.
Good.
So she
Yeah.
was like, you're going to get your lashes
Right.
on
This
such
is
a
when you're going to get them.
or you get a refund.
We have no control over this.
Yeah.
Right.
And I did a video for
Yeah.
social, and
Yeah.
people.
And thank God, again, here comes social
Listen,
again.
so I was
to
able
the-
to put
yeah.
that public apology
Sure.
out, and I'm an honest person.
Yeah.
I am not someone who likes to judge people
Yeah,
or none of
no,
that. I am
no
not, because I
need.
know it comes
Yeah.
back to you.
Yep, no
I'm a
need.
firm believer of karma.
Amen.
So it was important to me that, how they say how it looks, how I look is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Because I've
Yeah.
earned
Especially in business.
I've earned my
Yeah.
stripes to be
Yeah.
respected, and that is a quick
Absolutely.
way to get kicked down,
Yeah.
and for people to say, "Oh, that's a scam," or "That's that." So I
100%.
made sure that not only that did the people who wanted to be refund, I mailed them product.
Yeah.
You got a refund, but here's the product
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway.
Because
Yeah.
I want you
That's
to
good
try it.
customer service.
Yep, and
That's a good retail training.
yes. And I got so many people
Yeah.
out of those sour apples that came back to me, even
Yeah.
people who had cursed me out
Yeah.
on social
Yeah.
and was trying to tear me down.
Of course.
They came back around.
Uh-huh.
Not all of them, but most of them
It's
came
okay.
back around.
Yeah.
They said, "I see you have a good heart.
That's right.
Thank you."
And you want to do right.
Yeah, we
I mean, I
appreciate
couldn't
that.
do anything. Taraji posted.
I
I
had no
wasn't ready for
control.
that.
But
I probably would have told her, don't do it, because I only got 500 over here.
and it was kind of a double whammy because
Yeah.
she posted it, Chrisette Michelle posted it,
Yeah.
and Crystal Renee from
Yeah.
Fatima, that
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So it was like, even it was this big star, then two
Right.
other stars. It was
Yeah.
horrific, but great.
Yeah, it was great, but
But it was tragic.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
another
But
learning
you bounced,
curve.
right?
I bounced it
yeah,
back, and
yeah.
and from that one box of lashes, we have 30 products now.
Yeah, that's
from one style,
fantastic.
30 different
Yeah.
items we
Oh,
offer
yeah.
with multiple shades.
Yeah, I
and
started
doing-
fooling around with all the makeup that
fun.
you sent me. Yeah,
My whole energy with Ashunta Sheriff Beauty now is vegan, cruelty-free,
Yeah.
eco-conscious.
Yeah.
So our
Yeah.
paper packaging, our BPA bottles,
Yeah.
our ingredients, just really sourcing really good manufacturers,
Yeah.
even though they're in China or India, that really stick to that. They're
Right.
OME, they're certified
Yeah.
vegan.
Yeah.
That's super important to me because it can be really daunting. But
Yeah.
I did those deep dives. You have
Yeah.
to be on your phone
yeah.
24/7.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And then you're also have this other career.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
did product development.
Yeah, yeah.
And
so
that's,
it's-
when
yeah,
you become
know it.
one of us,
That's right.
you start
can't
kind of
help
doing
it.
everything.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Before influencers, I
Uh-huh.
was being hired by brands.
Yeah.
So, sponsored by CoverGirl, by
Uh-huh,
Armani, by
uh-huh.
Dior.
Yeah.
I was paid by Dior for 5 years
Yeah.
monthly,
Yeah.
helping them develop products.
Right.
By CoverGirl, by Mary Kay.
Almost like a pioneer in just that
Product
brand.
development.
Exactly.
That's all.
and
I mean,
brand
literally.
ambassador.
Mary Kay had no brushes when
Yeah.
I started with
Yeah.
them. I was a beauty ambassador, me and
Yeah.
Luis. I cannot think of Luis, but he's been with them for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And when I came in, he was like, "I'm trying to get them to do brushes," and I'm
Yeah.
like, I sat with him. I was like, "You need a setting spray. You need this.
Yeah,
You need that."
yeah.
So literally, like
And
helping.
Mary Kay, honey.
Yeah.
Want to talk about
Legendary
brand that
brand,
has
right?
lasted the test of
Right.
time.
Because
yeah.
they hire people like us in
That's
the industry
right.
to come
Yeah.
in and really help behind
Yeah.
with their training, their staff, and
Yeah.
really giving them real tools
Mhm.
so that they can really sell this product. So
Yeah.
people don't know that part of my career, that
Yeah.
there's many legs to what I've done, that
Yeah.
it's not just being a makeup artist, but I've also been about business.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I created this podcast, is just because there's so much going on with the stars behind the stars.
Yeah.
There are real stories, real success, real journeys to learn from, and I just felt like it's time for us to be able to sit on the couch and talk about all the things that we do outside of, just pushing out beautiful actors and singers and all of these things. So, this has been such a pleasure to have you here, and thank you so much for coming. And I know you're traveling, so I
I'm so
really,
happy.
really appreciate you taking time to sit down with me, and we'll do it again,
I have to just add, I mean, this is not even for the show. This can be just for you to have.
Uh-huh.
But Anita, makeup artists, modern day makeup artists don't make habits a lot of times, and I shouldn't say all, but some don't make habits of knowing the bricklayers. I used to turn those magazine covers to the side and look at those credits.
Exactly.
I used to see your name
Yep.
with Lauryn Hill.
Yep.
I seen your name in movie credits
Yeah.
with Spike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, know your work.
Yeah.
And it's just really amazing
Yeah.
to be in your presence. When I
Oh.
first met you with that press junket, I
Yeah.
immediately came over to you, was like, I know who you
did.
are.
I
You know,
know, it
you
was-
and Zinga, you know,
Yes,
Roxana,
yes, yeah,
Sam,
yep.
you know, and Reggie, Uncle Reggie,
yep.
Fran Cooper,
Yes.
of course, Pat McGrath, you know,
Yeah.
those are the people, you know, and even Pat comes a little behind you
Uh-huh,
guys, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but you guys are like my bricklayers
Yeah.
that I saw, you
Yeah.
know, Greg Brockington,
Yep.
Renee Garnes, you know,
Yep.
people who
Oh,
put,
yeah.
you know, a long time into this industry.
And made you believe
yeah, that we
this
can
was
do
actually
it
be
and
a
look
bona
like
fide
me
career.
and look
Exactly.
like me. And
yeah.
so thank you.
Oh,
thank you
you
for your work.
Thank you so much.
For being an inspiration. I'm
Thank
gonna cry
you.
because I'm
Oh,
emotional like that.
thank
Because
you.
I don't get really, I'm really sensitive, but I don't get all wound up about stars.
Yeah.
My brother Wardy Vice always says, "We from Harlem, we the stars," you know,
Right,
and that's how New
exactly.
Yorkers feel. Period.
New
That's a
York,
New York,
exactly,
you know,
that's
Harlem
New
all day,
York.
Brooklyn all day, Bronx all day. We think we're
That's
legends,
right,
right?
that's
So
right.
we, you know, and you're a New Yorker. You've been here a long
yes,
time, right?
I am.
So
I am.
we see stars all the time.
Yeah.
They're in the hood, they're downtown, they're in restaurants. It's
Yeah.
no different than the
Yeah.
real LA person who grows up in Los Angeles. They see
Right.
them.
They see them.
So I'm never fazed by them.
Right. Yes.
But when I get to meet you guys,
Oh.
that's who are the stars, because
Thank
you guys
you.
gave me hope.
Thank you.
You guys let me see that there was a path for me. I'm so
Amen.
emotional.
Oh, it's okay.
Because life
Okay.
was not
Yeah.
always easy.
Yeah. No.
And you just knew that I can do that because they've done it. So
Amen.
thank you.
Oh,
thank you. Truly,
you.
from the bottom of my heart,
Oh,
Anita.
thank
And now you're showing me I
you.
can do something even greater.
That's right. It's important for young artists coming up to understand you're gonna hit pitfalls. You know, it's gonna be ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
There's gonna be things, but just don't give up on yourself.
Don't.
Because sometimes those falls are to redirect you.
Yeah.
And where you're going is gonna be better than where you came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I
and
love
respect
those
the
stories.
architects.
Yeah.
Respect
Oh,
the
absolutely.
architects.
Respect
Truly.
the fact that we've been there and we
Yep.
can tell you this.
Yep.
You know, and keep your chin up.
Yeah. Keep your chin up.
And keep going.
Yep. I
So
always say
thank
there's
you.
there's work and room for us all.
For all of us.
There's so much space
Especially
for
now.
us. Yeah,
Especially
we don't
now.
have to
Now
tear
more
each
than
other
ever.
down.
Now more than ever,
Yeah.
we need to lift each other.
Yeah.
And support each other and keep each other going and cheer
Yep.
for
Powers
each other.
in collaboration.
100%.
That's my biggest saying is like
100%.
when we come together, we are so stronger, and
Yep.
you'd be surprised what we can all do.
That's right. I mean, here I am on a whole new journey. You
And-
know,
and
like
perfect
I
for
already
you're
know.
perfect for
Yeah,
this. You
so-
do. You don't need any of my help. You got this. You got me. You got me crying. You're Barbara Walters. Okay. Shit.
All right.
Like I've never cried in an interview, like ever. That's deep. He seen me
Well,
do so
I
many.
love it. Well, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
It really is about being candid and comfortable.
Oh,
So,
you did it.
Thank
you did it. You got the Oprah gift.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
You remember Oprah made everyone cry.
Yeah. Oh, she sure did. I don't want to make people cry, but if that happens,
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
yeah.
it is what it
If
is.
they feel that
Yeah,
joy,
that's
that's
right.
joy for me.
That's
so,
right.
Not sadness.
No,
so.
yeah, no, I know. I felt the joy, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, all
Okay.
right. Well, this is it.
Thank you.
you.